Are you looking for the best 2024 NFL bets around? Then get ready for the NFL's Week 2 IDP Plus Defensive Props podcast. Welcome back to the Week 2 of the IDP Plus NFL Defensive Props podcast. I'm Axton Harding, or Axman IDP on Twitter. I'm here with Johnny Christoffi, or Johnny freaking F1 on Twitter. You can find us, follow us on there. Let us know if you tail any of this stuff. DM us with questions, whatever you got. But we're here to give you some tackle props for each and every week of the NFL season. Let's see. Last week, we just kind of we had a little bit of fun. We played some futures in the offseason, and then Johnny and I threw in a couple of tackle props. Johnny hit on an EJ Speed over 7.5 tackles last week, so he's going 1 for 1 going into this week. So I unfortunately didn't quite hit mine. I took George Karlaftis over 1/4 of a sack. Unfortunately, I chose the wrong Kansas City defensive lineman. I should have known to go with Chris Jones. But nonetheless, we're going to look to turn it around myself anyways, and Johnny's going to look to carry off his momentum in week 2. So I'll go ahead and let him let the hot hand start off here this week in week 2. So give us your first pick here, Johnny.
So I don't usually like to roll unders, but I am going to roll an under tonight. I'm going to roll the dice here. And somebody I've been bagging on all year, all offseason, I should say, is Divine Deablo. I don't think he's an elite IDP player. He does have spike games, but I don't think it's going to happen, even though many people expect him to versus Baltimore. His over-under right now is 7.5, and I'm taking the under. And I'm actually getting plus odds, plus 110 for it. To me, I don't think this is a shoo-in by any means. We've seen Divine Deablo have double-digit tackle games. He's no stranger to that. Actually, last year, he had 6 out of 15 games that he played were over this 8 or more mark. So to me, you're getting about 2/3, 66% chance. A little bit under that. Almost 2/3, 66% chance for this to hit. So, parlay that with the fact that Divine Deablo only played 74% of defensive snaps. He's supposed to be, the breadwinner next to Robert Spillane is that inside LB2. Not saying that they had anybody else supersede him, but only playing 74% of snaps at 7.5 tackles, and you're getting plus odds for the under. Yeah, I'm going to roll Divine Deablo once again, under 7.5 versus Baltimore. I know it's a game that they're probably going to be down, but Divine Deablo, I'm just going to roll the dice on this one. Play the the history side of it, historical side, and the snap percentage he's not above 80%. To me, he's not a complete huge threat to just be on the field and make those tackles. So to me, yeah, Divine Deablo, I'm taking the under on this one, Ax.
I really like Divine Deablo under here. I mentioned to you before the show that he would kind of, if this were maybe a couple of years ago, pre-injury and all kinds of other things that have kind of happened to him, I might have been a little bit more concerned because he kind of had a little bit more upside, but we just haven't seen that at least since then. So I like for you to go with the under there with Divine Deablo against Baltimore. And Baltimore is an offense that's kind of tricky for linebackers to get that tackling volume, just because a lot of the rushing attempts come on the back of Lamar Jackson peeling off the edge and going around wide. So you're not getting as much volume straight up the middle. And we kind of saw that with the primary linebackers for Kansas City last week, where Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil weren't quite the tackle getters. It was EJ Speed, or EJ Speed. It was Leo Chenal as the third linebacker, kind of more coming off the edge, able to catch Lamar Jackson for some of those tackles where he was leaking out of the pocket. So I like to say, I kind of back that one for an under at 7.5. That's a pretty high under to pretty high tackle goal for us to achieve. So I like that for a good play to hit the under. I alluded to it a little bit. My first play this week, I'm going to kind of piggyback off Johnny's last week, because I think EJ Speed is still in a good position to go ahead and hit double-digit tackles again this week. His line is a little bit high. Last week he was at 7.5. I would have liked it to be a little bit kind of closer to that, or 8.5. But we're looking at a guy who's had 10 total tackles in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, his last 5 games. And you can't tell me every single one of those favored the run, and those were run-heavy teams. EJ Speed just has a nose for the ball, and this guy goes and gets his tackles no matter what. And we're talking about a Green Bay Packers team who lost Jordan Love last week, is now playing with a quarterback who has virtually no experience in the NFL. So you can bank on Josh Jacobs getting a ton of volume in this one. I imagine he had like 16 touches last week on the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 25 or more carries this week, just because the passing game's not going to be working, and they got to do something to get the ball moving down the field and be able to sustain drives. So I think EJ Speed is even in an outstanding position this week against the Green Bay Packers to carry on that momentum and get us another double-digit tackle week. And that came in at minus 105. So even the books are pretty confident that EJ Speed's going to be at least getting close to this tackle mark.
I like it, bro. I like EJ Speed, and usually I don't like to touch the 9 or 10s. That's a tall feat to hit, but I mean, when some of these elite linebackers, and I think EJ Speed is in that realm. I think that when you see them, you kind of get a little 9.5, 10. It kind of scares you a little bit, and that's why I didn't pick Speed, but I do back that pick. I think especially in this game, Packers don't have Jordan Love. They're going to have Malik Willis. I mean, he's a runner himself. So I think, man, I really don't expect much from Green Bay, but I think this is a really good game for EJ Speed. Maybe Zaire Franklin, too, to get his. So like that pickaxe. You want me to roll my next one out?
Yeah, dude, hit us. What do you got next?
So for my next one, this guy, kind of became a household name in the IDP communities this first week because of a big game. And I knew about him, talked about him in the offseason, and I said this could be a potential. I wasn't really willing to stick my neck out for the guy, but now that I saw it, the proof's in the pudding. I'm going to talk about Antonio Johnson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think after last week, he played 100% of snaps. This is a guy who he's a second-year player, didn't really play much last year. Was a highly drafted player, though, highly thought of. So he finally gets his opportunity. Rayshon Jenkins, a big part of this is Rayshon Jenkins is not here anymore, which to me, I'm loving this. Rayshon Jenkins was the tackle guy. They still have Andre Sisco. People respect Andre Sisco and IDP for some reason, and I just don't get it. Like, this guy doesn't get tackles, not really making big plays. That's good for Antonio Johnson. So Antonio Johnson wasn't like a strict box safety. He played a multitude of different positions, and I kind of like that because you're not putting yourself in a box to say like he has to play this alignment to get these certain tackle marks. And you know what? It was 9 last week, week 1. This week he's going to play against Cleveland. I think that it's probably not going to be 9 or more. That's why, to me, it's a fine bet here at 5.5. I expect Jacksonville to be up in this game, whether it be by a lot or not. But I do expect Jacksonville to be up. And because of that, just game flow is going to say that Cleveland's got to throw. They're going to have to try to come back. And to me, that's a good safety blanket there. Like, I think Antonio Johnson, even if it's an even game, he's going to get this 5.5. But the fact that I think they're going to be up and they're going to get thrown against, I'm even more, content with this bet. And you're getting plus odds. So basically, you have this hyped up player. He came in and he did it week 1. He played 100% of snaps all over the place. And now you're just going to say that he's going to take a little bit of a dip in production and you're still getting plus odds. To me, I love it. I think Antonio Johnson is a guy who it's probably going to get up to maybe he stays at 5.5, maybe goes to 6.5. Like, I think that he's about that. He's a tackle kind of guy. He's going to be a sexy player. He's just kind of undervalued right now. I think take advantage of this one. Antonio Johnson over 5.5 combined tackles plus 114 versus Cleveland this week.
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for him playing all over the field against Cleveland. In just the passing attack alone, they threw the ball 45 times last week. So he's going to be busy in the secondary. And if he gets up along the line of scrimmage, the Cleveland's not afraid to shy away from the run as well. So it's really kind of a good game for guys that are playing, for those guys that play, can play deep and chase after the receivers, but the guys that can also get those box snaps and play kind of more up towards the line of scrimmage where all the action's happening. So I don't mind that for over 5.5 for a defensive back. It seems like week in and week out. I learned last year, even in the playoffs, that oftentimes I'm betting on this guy or that guy, and it seems like the defensive backs are always the one that are the leading tacklers on about any given week. You know what I mean? So I really like Antonio Johnson of any of the defensive backs for Jacksonville, especially after a 9-tackle week last week. You know, I think that's a good floor for him, at least of 5.5. So I like that mark. My next one here, I'm going to go with Paulson Adebo at over 5.5 tackles, another 5.5 mark. This came in at plus 100. This is against Dallas, another high volume passing team. And we're looking at a cornerback who could be chasing either Brandon Cooks or CeeDee Lamb. Either way, whenever Dak's throwing the ball 30 or more times a game, we're just looking to get 6 tackles here. If we can just get 5 tackles or 5 passes in the direction of Paulson Adebo, I think those lead to easy tackles for him. And then all he's got to do is maybe get one more tackle anywhere else throughout the game. Otherwise, he's just doing his job and following his man and just getting tackles, in accordance with the game script. So I expect that Dallas will continue to keep airing it out. I expect them to be a lot more successful than last week. You didn't really see CeeDee Lamb or anybody really pop off. I know Brandon Cooks found the end zone, but that wasn't the Dallas that we're used to seeing. They still threw it 30 times. So I think we see a lot more efficiency from the Dallas offense, and in turn, we see more tackles come from this actually surprisingly good New Orleans secondary, specifically Paulson Adebo, who I believe has one of the biggest upsides in terms of just tackle upside for this defensive back core. So I really liked Paulson Adebo coming in at over 5.5 total tackles.
Yeah, I like that, man. Sneaky. You got a cornerback. I got a cornerback too. I'm going to save that one for later. I do like Adebo here. I do think that, Dallas is going to have to throw the ball, show who they are, come out and dominate this matchup. I do expect it to be a close game. New Orleans looked good that first week. I get it. It was against a bad, bad Carolina team, but I do not expect this to be a absolute, game where Dallas rolls over the team. Now I think it's going to be pretty close, and that's a good thing for Adebo here. So I like that accident, and I'm going to save my cornerback for the next one. But this one right here, I am going to throw in Mack Wilson. Mack Wilson, a guy who I didn't really believe in, but I heard a lot of people in the community believing in. IDP Hunter was one of them. Our buddy Steve. So props, shout out to you, Steve. Your boy Mack Wilson hit. And I'm going to roll with him. The fact that people in the community have backed him, I kind of doubted him. I'll take the L on that one. Hopefully I don't take the L on this one. Mack Wilson over 4.5 total tackles versus the Rams. Another one that I feel is a pretty safe bet here. It's a low marker. You're getting plus odds, plus 100. So that is a double whammy, a double positive. So I think this one's pretty plausible. I mean, this is probably my favorite IDP or favorite game in general this week is the Rams versus the Cardinals. And I think for IDP, it's going to be some outstanding props here. I think additionally, not only Mack Wilson, there's other guys on this game that I think on the docket could be good picks. But we're talking about a guy who this past week 1, tied his career high with 9 tackles. He played 63% of snaps. Again, shout out to the people that saw this coming. I wasn't one of them, but if you're playing 63% snaps week 1 next to Kyzir White, I think that you came in, you had 9 tackles, you played a great game. I think that number only goes up. So I think there's more opportunity on the field here. Rams should be up in this game. I would say, I know that Arizona is the favorite. I don't agree with that. I think Rams are going to win this one. And I hope that's the case for Mack Wilson. He gets more opportunities for tackles. And if he is like that, if he's off to a great season in week 1, and if that's the trend that it continues, I think this 4.5 is an easy mark. So nothing's guaranteed when we talk about bets. But again, a low marker, 4.5 tackles. He hit 9 in this last game. So all he has to do is get, a little bit over half. And he's going to make good on this bet. So Mack Wilson plus 100 for the over 4.5 combined tackles. Back to you, Axe.
Yeah, you're right. This Cardinals Rams game is going to be great for IDP, and I got a guy that you kind of alluded to. I'll come up with later for kind of our little pair of parlay picks that we'll kind of give you guys here at the end. But no, Mack Wilson, we love to kind of find those lines that are low like that, those 4.5 marker lines where they attach him to a player who's playing over at least half of the snaps, a guy who that gives them. I mean, on average, you're probably looking at 30 to 40 snaps a game, roughly, getting about 50% of the snaps. So I think to get 5 tackles on a team that's going to rush the ball significantly. I know Kyron Williams last year was almost averaging 20 touches a game. So I expect this team, especially without Puka Nacua, to keep utilizing the ground game and keep using Kyron Williams and just running him into the ground as long as they can, because guess what? They got the same thing in the backup. So I expect them to keep running right into these linebackers, and Mack Wilson even being out there halftime ought to be able to scoop up 5 of them. So that's a good one. That's a good catch at plus money too. My next one here is going to be for Blake Cashman to get over 8.5 total tackles against the 49ers. Usually I try to shy away from 8.5, 9.5 tackle lines unless we're just dealing with a good situation. I know I took EJ Speed over earlier, but it just seemed like, I was even looking at the lines last week and I didn't really feel this great about any of the 8 or 9.5 tackle marks just due to matchups. But this week I feel especially good considering the teams that these guys are playing. So Blake Cashman comes in playing the 49ers at home, and the 49ers last week ran Jordan Mason a ton. They ran the ball like 38 or 39 times, almost 40 times last week. And you got to imagine that running your running backs that many times, or just having that many design plays on the ground, is going to lead right into your linebackers at least 25% of the time, which is 10 tackles between the 2 middle linebackers. So after that, if you split that up halfway, you're just looking at adding maybe 4 tackles throughout the rest of the game. And I don't think that's something that that Blake Cashman can't do. He's a guy that we've seen get 15, 16, 17 tackle games. And I think this is a good opportunity against the 49ers, who are especially established in the run game. There's going to be wide open lanes and the defensive line where these running backs are just going to fall into these linebackers' hands. So I like Blake Cashman, especially at plus money. This came in at plus 105. So give me Blake Cashman at 9 tackles this week. So that will wrap up our initial 3 tackle props apiece. We do have one more special one for you. We're going to give you guys one more apiece, and we'll kind of give you odds on that too. If you want to pair the 2 up, it gives you, it comes in at actually plus 205. So you're looking to win double your cash with this one. So Johnny, go ahead and give everybody your cornerback that you were alluding to earlier.
So I love the Cashman. Let me I'll connect the dots here. I love the Cashman 8.5. I think this is a game where he gets double digits. So I love that play, man. And I'm going to stick in the same game here. I do think that Minnesota is down playing from behind in this game, which is kudos to Cashman. And to me, I think that another bonus to that is that my boy Charvarius Ward. He's right now, his marker is 3.5 tackles. I'm going to take the over on this. So I think that Charvarius Ward, the 49ers are going to be up. He's a cornerback. I really don't like to dip into cornerbacks too much, but this one was juicy. So when you look at the history here, Charvarius Ward has played Minnesota twice. He's averaging 5.5 combined tackles in those 2 games. So he's hit both games that he's played previously. I know that doesn't mean he'll hit it this one, but here's some added context in this game. So number one, you're thinking that Minnesota is going to have to throw more. Maybe there's a factor that they get they're playing their old backup quarterback and Sam Darnold. So maybe the game kind of stays competitive. Maybe, Darnold can stay with the 49ers at least a little bit. So to me, I think it's going to be a good game. Like, I think there's going to be offensive, abilities here to pass the ball. And with that being said, you are also looking at the factor that Justin Jefferson is going to be, I believe, guarded predominantly by Charvarius Ward. Now, why I say predominantly is because Jordan Addison. If Jordan Addison is in there, like he's hurt this week, so to me, I don't believe he's ruled out just yet, but I don't think he's practiced this week. probably going to be ruled out. We thought it was going to be a multi-week, so this should be a pretty easy rule out for Addison. And if that is indeed the case, it makes this pick even more likely because to me, I think if Addison was there, maybe Charvarius Ward, roams around a little bit. Now you don't have Addison. You're sticking Charvarius Ward on Justin Jefferson. This is a game where I believe Justin Jefferson is going to at least have, 7 or 8 targets, probably catches at least 5 or 6 balls. And if not, go back to the overall likeliness that Minnesota is going to be down. They're going to be throwing. So whether it's, Justin Jefferson, the Charvarius Ward is tackling, it doesn't really matter. At least they're throwing, I think, and the likelihood that Justin Jefferson does have a good game only helps Charvarius Ward. So I think this is it's not a sexy bet. I think it's a pretty likely thing. It's over only 3.5, and it's not great odds. It's minus 165. So something you're definitely going to sprinkle into a parlay. And Axton, tell us what might be a good match for that if you're looking to parlay that. What are you coming up with to the table?
I kind of alluded to it earlier, but we said we like the Cardinals game against the Rams, and I'm going with the other Cardinals linebacker and Kyzir White, a guy who's no stranger to double-digit tackles, much like a few other guys on this list that we've listed tonight. So Kyzir White's line was at 7.5 tackles against the Rams. Again, it's going to be a team that's down a wide receiver. They're going to be looking to establish the run early to try to be able to control this game. And I think Kyren Williams averaging almost 20 or more touches on the ground last year per game. I think this just alludes, lends well to the linebackers for Arizona, just being able to just soak up a ton of tackles in this one. And the fact that Mack Wilson and Kyzir White's line, they have to get 15 tackle, not even it was like 12 tackles between the two of them to beat the line. That's insane. Like that's 12 rushes. I Kyren Williams could very well double that. So and I'm not saying all of those are going to go to the linebackers, but that just lends well to more opportunity for these guys to just get in there and eat up. So at 7.5, that's kind of that sweet spot that I like to see for these top end linebackers, especially Kyzir White, who's kind of established himself in the league, being one of those guys that's kind of averaging. I would say he probably averages over this mark. So give me that one at it came in at minus 110. So you combine that minus 110 with your minus 165, we come out with a plus 205 parlay here for a 2-legger. I really like that. You put $10 down, you come out with 30. That's not a bad day of betting, especially you come in and maybe hit on one of these other props or some other maybe you watched my touchdown parlay earlier this week and you hit on something like that. So hopefully everybody has good luck. Don't spend past your bankroll. We want to be responsible and bet smart. So Johnny, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about one of our sponsors, and then maybe we can get out of here.
Yeah, so the network we work for, IDP Plus, we are running a promo right now. Right now it's the IDP Plus subscription. When you go to our website, idpplus.com/membership, you will get 20% off the site-wide using the promo code PROPS. So start your season off right with an IDP Plus subscription. Get 20% off any subscription for a limited time and get access to our tools, data, IDP articles, and don't miss out on our subscriber Discord. So check out idpplus.com/membership and use the promo code PROPS.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good luck betting this week, and we'll see you back next week for some more defensive prop bets.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.